Now the President and the spouse will move over to the upper podium to join the invited head of state. The Chief Justice and the spouse will also move up to the upper podium to join the invited head of state. The generals of the South African National Defence Force and the South African Police Services will now withdraw from the podium.
So, Tefisa, it's coming towards the end of what's been quite a momentous, historic day.
Very nostalgic and emotional in a way, hasn't it been? But an amazing show that we saw there by the Air Force and the aircrafts. I was blown away.
Yeah, completely. Very impressive display, and what we're witnessing now is the final salute. The armed forces will be marching past the president and the other heads of state that have joined him, and there'll be the final, I suppose, recognition of his new position as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
You know, Peter, we were just talking about it with Colonel Lancelot Matebulo, who's been taking us through these formalities about just how long they have to stand. I mean, it's been several hours of standing in the heat, so it requires a great amount of discipline, and I'd imagine this is what you're really conferring on that office of head of state, of discipline, of dedication, and love for country.
Absolutely. So there we have it, President Cyril Ramaphosa. He's now been inaugurated. He is the head of state and getting well wishes from the dignitaries that are there, that have come from far and wide to witness today. South Africans came in their numbers to the stadium, 32,000 in total. That came through the stadium doors, but millions watching on television and listening on radio.
And as you can see, among them there were just seen pictures of King Mswati. Earlier on it was very interesting that we saw quite a number, dozens of maidens of the Swazi Kingdom as he was driving in through the VIP entrance. So a tradition being observed here on our shores as well. And as you can see, Jakaya Kikwete, former Tanzanian president, and in front of him is Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni, and the current sitting Tanzanian president not far from there as well. As Peter said, there not only various heads of states of nations, there are former heads of states, but also heads of missions of very important regional and international bodies. Peter?
Yes, indeed. And I mean, it's a good showing in terms of the number of heads of state that were able to make it. It was scaled down somewhat, but all of the SADC heads of state were invited to be part of this, and you can see a smiling Hage Geingob from Namibia there, and seated on the front row with the glasses, another close friend of South Africa for many, many years. And the armed forces now, the Army, Navy and the Air Force doing their final march as they do their final salute to the president.
It's such an incredible thing to watch, especially from that aerial shot that really gives you a good sense of just how synchronized they are. Training, I believe they've been doing that for the whole week. This is what we've just been told. And just looking at how fresh they still look, Peter. And as I say, I don't know how many of us can do this. I mean, I know a lot of people don't understand that this is also partly what we do, working for hours. It's all different, but
it is ceremony, but in many ways it's a show of force, a show of strength and a show of skill. What we saw with the Air Force in particular a short while ago, a lot of those maneuvers, for the untrained eye, you'd think it's just a normal flight, normal positions, but what they were doing was exceptionally difficult. What the paratroopers did, jumping into the stadium earlier on, that again in a small space that we're witnessing here.
And I remember difficult. Colonel saying that they have to land within 15 meters of their target. That's a very specific distance.
And that's from 12,000 feet in the air.
And we saw the green smoke that they were blowing up in the air to give them an idea of which way the wind is blowing. And I think what you're saying is very important, because a lot of the audience who are online as well, not quite understanding just how much skill is required. So let's check in with our colleagues now. They are all around the stadium at different points. Peter?
And Nzinga Punta is been one of those, and we go to her now and get a sense of what the crowd is feeling like post-inauguration. Nzinga?
A very good afternoon to you, Peter and Zippy. So yes, we are at Loftus Versfeld, still inside the stadium with the crowd who came out to watch the inauguration of President Cyril Ramaphosa. We saw a mood that can only be described as jubilant, Peter and Zippy. So at some point the concrete underneath us was shaking as the stadium stood up and started singing about President Ramaphosa, started singing the national anthem and singing songs of jubilation and excitement. Throughout the day, people have been saying, it's an exciting time for them. They're happy that they traveled sometimes far distances to come and experience this. I'm joined now by someone who is attending the ceremony. Very good afternoon to you. Tell us what you experienced and why you came here today.
I'm truly such a proud South African right now. I came to hear my newly elected president speak and just to be part of this momentous occasion in our country's history. to be here and yes, to be with all our proud South Africans, to be happy, to be victorious and in celebrations. It's just such an incredible moment for me.
What was the best part of the day for you, and were there any moments where you felt unsafe or unhappy?
I definitely did not feel unsafe at any time today. I felt really safe. I feel this event was really very well organized, and yes, well done to the South African government for creating this great event. And what stood out for me was when the president spoke, was really wonderful to see him speak in live, and seeing the airplanes fly by was very...
Thank you so much for your time. We've got another guest who is also with us in the stands at Loftus Fairfield. Ninjanima, how was today, and what was the best part of this experience for you?
Mama, ndiyaphila kahle namhlanje, ndivuya kakhulu ngale mina namhlanje. Ndivuyela lento ANC winile abantu baphuma ngobuninzi babo bahamba bovota. Kodwa ngicela uthethe into eyi-1 ku-president. Makajonge i-rural areas. Njengendawo njenge-Case Kamahuk, Middle-Rift, Fort Beaufort and Alice and Butterworth. Abantu bakhona basokola kakhulu. Funeka hambe ajonge. And enye into endiyibawelayo, ndicela young bloods eParliament. Enye into endiyicelayo kuRamaphosa, athi make sure uyayiphelisa corruption. Ndivuya kakhulu namhlanje, ndivuya kakhulu. And ndibulela the whole South Africa ngophuma yonke ihambi yovota. Ndithi enkosi, ndithi wuntshu nangomso.
Our guest just saying there that she came out, she's very happy that people voted for the ANC in their numbers. She had a very good day here. The one thing that she would implore President Cyril Ramaphosa to do is to go to the rural areas and places such as Case Kamahuk and look at the circumstances of people there, and also imploring that there should be young blood in Parliament. We've been bringing you throughout the course of the day from about 6 o'clock in the morning the views of ordinary South Africans who've taken their time out to come and watch this inauguration, watch the pomp and the circumstance that's taken place today. And my colleague Griselda Lewis is going to continue doing that for us. We cross over to her now. It's goodbye from me.
Well, there you have it. Cyril Ramaphosa installed as the president of the Republic of South Africa. And of course, there were thousands here to witness that on the stands at the Loftus Versfeld Stadium here in Tshwane. And as you can hear, they're still enjoying the band that is still on the pitch. But however, now that all the pomp and ceremony is done, of course, the in-tray of the president is now quite long, and certainly many South Africans will now say it's now time for him to get to work. So I decided to grab Ugogo right next to me, and it happens to be her birthday. She chose to spend it here at the Loftus Versfeld Stadium. Mama ulapha namhlanje umzwile upresident ekhuluma sino president omusha la eSouth Africa. Ungafuna ukuthini kuye?
Ngifuna ukumbingelela upresident, ngibonga ukuthi namhlanje ngibe ngikhona ebekwa eminyakeni yami lokhu ngaze 1942 ngiyaqala ukubona into efana nale. Ngino 78 years manje ngikhona emhlabeni. Kuyisibusiso lokho uNkulunkulu. Ngifisa ubaba uRamaphosa ngoba ufile nalapha yakithi indawo uhlala eMandeni mina. Wathi ebhala iskip ethi thuma mina. So ke simthumuleke sesimbekile manje. Sicela umhlaba ukuthi asilungisele umhlaba wethu ubuye uzekithi abantu abamnyama siusebenze silime ukudla sidle sizokwazi ukuphila siyeke no BP laba basiphethe kodwa singawufunela umhlaba ukuthi sizodayisa asilime ukudla sifuye inkomo nembuzi.
Enkosi kakhulu mama, and happy birthday kuwe. And namhlanje, let's speak to some of the young people as well. A lot of high hopes from young people as well. Let's talk to you, sir. I saw you sitting with your friends here. This one is on the cell phone, also awaiting his turn. But obviously, you've been listening to the president, and what are you drawing from this? Do you believe that President Ramaphosa, the current president now who's been installed, would be able to deliver for you as a young person?
Yebo kunjalo, into engiyicabangayo ukuthi uCyril Ramaphosa kuningi angakwenza for thina njengoba vele sazi ukuthi somkhethile. Our trust are in him to actually deliver us and actually focus especially particularly to the young people and the old age. siyazi ukuthi ngokuthi size lana kuze bamgcobe uzibophile njengamanje siyazi ukuthi into nathi sohlele sikhona simxhasa singabantu bomphakathi because kwesinye isikhathi amaphutha ayenzeka kodwa siyathemba ukuthi uzoyenza lento esifunayo singabantu bomphakathi particularly sifuna ukuthi umsebenzi wabantu abasha ube khona opportunities of young people must be opened at all times because thina singabantu abatsha yithi abantu esikuthi sifanele sikhokhele kulelizwe kodwa masinganamsebenzi kuyingxaki because we've got bread and butter issues. We must transform our lives, but not only sikhuluma transformation. Transformation must be there practically into our lives. As a young person coming from a community where I'm coming from, I want to speak as a member of the ANC, as a member of the activists in my community to say transformation ikhona ibonakale ngathi singabantu abasha. Kunjalo.
All right. Nkoska Kuluputi, I hope we have time for one more. I'm unable to hear our studio at this stage, but we can continue. Butwam, you've come here with your friend. Kudala ndinimamele nithetha apha njengabantu abatsha nisithi ngoku lixesha losebenza.
Yeah, upresident I think sine hope kakhulu kuyena. Sabantu abasha iSouth Africa siyayibona iqhubekela phambili under the leadership of upresident uMatamela. Yeah.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Let's see if there's one. I think there's someone here. I'm not sure if we're able to. Okay, yes, she's been waiting in the line the whole morning. I was told not to leave here without speaking to this lady. She's been waiting in the line for a long time. Siswam iti qaba ke uthi uPresident Cyril Ramaphosa ubekiwe ke namhlanje ufuna ukuthini njengomuntu walapha eMzantsi Afrika.
Wow, it's incredible because it's the first time as a nation re-invite in such an event. So nantoki bona ngumu President Cyril Ramaphosa ke bona tshedi botse sona. So I think haka tshwara this 5 years hantle ba me happy the next 5 years. So ke re mo president etla o re sebeletse today you are finally rumile o re sithume wena sithumile namhlanje. And then I can say, well done to you. Thank you so much.
All right. As you can see here behind me, they break out into song, and essentially at this stage, what these South Africans here behind me, in as little as they are here, certainly the sentiment that they're sharing with us here on SABC News this afternoon is certainly a message that seems to reverberate throughout the hearts and minds of many South Africans. So I guess now it's all down to the work itself. Just one more. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this one. And let's speak to you. If I could just ask you to turn it down slightly. All right, there's a little message that you wanted to sing, didn't you?
Yes.
What did you want to sing?
National anthem.
Well, let's sing the national anthem very quickly.
Nkosi sikeleli Afrika maluphakami supondolwayo izwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela thina usapho lwayo izwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi.
Thank you so much. Well done. Come and hug. Well done. Well, I guess after that, I don't think I should be speaking to anybody else. Certainly, the future looks bright, I guess, for South Africa. And I'm afraid that's where we're going to leave it from the chairs here, where we've been broadcasting to you live from here at Loftus Versveld, interacting with many of the ordinary people who've come here to celebrate and be part of this moment. It certainly has been a pleasure for me to bring you live from here on SABC News, and we also thank, of course, many of the individuals here who've made our work quite pleasant as we try to stand on the chairs here and broadcast as much as possible, bringing you live the events here from the Loftus Versveld Stadium.
Oh, well, the president has asked people of South Africa to send him, and people of South Africa responded. They have sent him. He says he knows the challenges they are facing, but he has made a plea to say whatever the challenges that he will need to deal with and solve, he will need their help. But of course, he will need to lead by example. And there are many people who came here to witness this occasion. Among some of the people are people from parliament, are people from everywhere, business. With me is Ma Togotizdiza, who is a member of parliament and of course a member of the NEC of the ANC. You've heard your president speak. Are you impressed? Are you optimistic?
I am optimistic, and I'm also very happy about the commitment that is made to society on the things that the government will have to do in changing the lives of our people for the better.
Do you think, given the enormity of the challenges that this country is facing, is the president the right person to really lead this nation to solving them?
He's certainly the right person. As an ANC, we elected him as our president in 2017 conference because we believed he was the right man for the job. And also Parliament on Wednesday elected him as president-elect unopposed, which showed the commitment of all South Africans in working with him as a leader in leading our society.
Of course, we know that after this, his next immediate task is to put together the team that will lead whatever things that he needs to achieve. You being the member of the parliament, it's possible you may be considered. Should the president decide that Togotizdiza must be one of them, even in the deputy, will she accept that?
Well, president has an enormous task, as you say. He has to reflect, consult his party, and put men and women who will be right for the task ahead.
Thank you very much, Ma.
Thank you.
Well, there was Togotizdiza there basically saying she will give the president time and space really to be able to decide and reflect and think thoroughly as to what he wants to do. But we have a number of people here, as I've indicated, who have been watching the speech of the president, who have been hearing what he's been saying. And with me is Ma. I see you. You are very impressed. Your name and why you here? Are you impressed?
Yeah, I'm very impressed, but I'm here on duty. I'm an official from Parliament.
Yes, of course, Parliament has just elected him, but of course you may not be the member, so you feel the task that lies ahead for the president is doable.
Yeah, very doable, but he needs also our support as the people of this country.
Thank you very much. You can see people are here on duty. They are making sure that they are wanting to help the president. In fact, I have the deputy minister here. She is trying to walk out, but I'm gonna grab her and find out how is she feeling. And of course, I don't know whether she's expecting that phone call, but before that phone call, let's find out if she was impressed and what is it that the ANC needs to do going forward from now on.
I'm very impressed with the day. I'm very happy with the way in which the day went. And I must say, very impressed with the president's speech. And like he said, South Africans deserve better. South Africans expect action. And indeed, we serve to please. And I think this is the time where South Africans must expect more action and less talk.
Are you nervous?
Not at all. I have served with honor, dignity. I've served and gave South Africans my 100%. And yes, I'm very, very proud of the race that I've run. So I'm not nervous at all.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. And of course, the counterpart of the Deputy Minister is the Deputy Minister of Finance, Mondli Ngubele. Before I can even speak to you, so are you confident that come Tuesday, I will call you the Minister or Deputy Minister?
That is in the purview of the President.
But do you think you've done enough, perhaps, to be retained?
As far as I'm concerned, I did what I was supposed to do, but I know it doesn't entitle me to be reappointed. That's the decision of the President and how he wants to build his team. And I hold a lot of respect for that. Yeah.
The President has just spoken now here. Are you inspired? Are you energized?
This President has inspired me since 1982. Remember, we founded, he led us in the founding of NUM, in the mining industry. So some of us have been lucky to be with him since 1982. He's a one man who has never let me down. He's one man, if you can go back, every task that was put in his hands, he concluded. Now, this is one most historic task of being a president of the country. I see no reason to believe that he cannot conclude it like the way he has been concluding other tasks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was the Deputy Minister of Finance there. Of course, you hear us asking them the questions whether they are nervous or not. Remember that the next task of this president, he's now been sworn in. He is the president. He's got all the executive authority. His next immediate task, either tomorrow or Monday, is to appoint men and women who will be in his cabinet to be able to push this agenda that he seeks to achieve. He's spoken about fighting corruption. He's spoken about dealing with the issue of unemployment. He's spoken about the issue of ending poverty. And of course, there are many of his colleagues who really would want perhaps to have a word or two about what he has said. As from the ANC, are you really happy? Are you really inspired by what the president has just said?
Very optimistic, very inspired, very happy, very positive where the country is going. And I think the president has spoken to all the things that the people of the country wanted to hear. And I'm very certain that he is going to appoint men and women that are going to make sure that they do exactly what he wants to do and what he wants to see the country going to. The country is on the right track, and I can promise you the next 5 years are going to be work in progress.
But I think the criticism of the ANC government over the past 25 years is that it's been able to come up with very good policy. It's been lacking on implementation. So does it mean the personnel will have to be changed that will have to drive that implementation?
I think the good thing now is that policies are in place. Everything has been put in place. What is left now is to implement. Now there is no excuse for the ANC government. We need to implement the policies because the policies are there. We are not putting any policies. They are there. We must implement. So we must hit the ground running. We don't have any excuse.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Well, there you have it. They are basically saying the policies are there, the policies are good, they just need to be implemented. And of course, one of those persons at some point who was charged with the responsibility of implementing ANC policies was the former mayor of Johannesburg, Pakstow. He is here to also witness the inauguration of the president. Mr. Tau, you've been here, you've been listening, you've been in government at a local level. So you feel there is something different that will happen going forward, starting with this administration?
Certainly there is something different that would happen. The president committed to ensuring that the clean government, that government would focus on addressing the issues that are confronting the country, issues such as unemployment, in particular youth unemployment, and issues of development overall in the country.
But Mr. Tau, the problem perhaps is not so much about the president himself, but the men and women that have to do the work. So what if they don't do as he wishes?
Well, in the first instance, the president, I think, would appoint a team that would be capable of undertaking the responsibility, because that's part of the president's responsibility. It is to appoint people that he thinks would be capable to do the job. And if people are not doing the job, he'd have to take corrective action. That's the responsibility of a president. He has addressed issues that say we need to act with urgency, and I think all of government needs to understand they need to act with urgency.
Well, I know that you are not the member of the parliament, but the president has the prerogative to pick two people from outside parliament to be in his executive. So if he were to extend that opportunity to you, would you take it?
I think any public representative would be honored to be invited to a cabinet by president, but that's a decision of the president and the national leadership.
Of course, it's the decision of the president, but what about you?
Well, as I said, I think that any invitation to serve in any position in the country is a privilege that one would undertake with diligence and responsibility.
Thank you very much. Well, there was Pakstow there basically saying, as much as he's not the member of parliament, if the opportunity were to be extended to him to serve, he will definitely do that. Hello, Ma. I see you also are willing to serve.
Yes, when the president called all of us and said who is ready and willing to serve, I also said to Mamina, because we still need to serve the people of South Africa. We need to make sure that our people are out of shacks, our people are having jobs, and our people have got the necessary services. When you go through the elections campaign, you see more and more of the challenges. So we are ready as parliamentarians to be sent out into our country to serve our people and make sure that through our municipalities, through our provinces, in working together, we can truly make sure that we grow the South Africa that we want, and that everybody must be happy to see the better life that Madiba spoke about in 1994.
You've been there. What is different this time around? Why will it be different this time around? You've been there throughout.
I've been there throughout, yes, and I believe that they say in every situation, when you're given a second chance, you have an opportunity, like I've had an opportunity to be out there and to look in and see some of the challenges that as you are inside, you are not able to see. And being down in the communities, being out there with the communities, speaking to them, hearing their challenges and seeing on a day-to-day basis the challenges that they experience. One has realized that the challenge in service delivery is not government, it's not the ministers, it's not the premiers, it's not the MECs, it's not the president, but our functionaries, the administration. And therefore, it is important that we strengthen this service delivery through the administration.
A tricky question for you. I know, so you may say it's not your space or your place. The president, the deputy president has decided not to be sworn in. So, and we expect the president to kick his cabinet in the next day or two, perhaps leaving the current deputy president. So, as a woman, would you support the president to appoint a woman deputy?
You know, as a deployee of the African National Congress, we support our president in whatever choices that he makes.
I am saying if he decides to appoint a woman president.
I'm saying we support the president in whatever choices he makes, because I'm standing here, I don't know what is in the mind of the president. So whatever choice that he makes, we as the deployees of the African National Congress, as members of the ANC, will support him.
Thank you very much, man. That was the former minister there and the former premier. I did speak to him earlier as well, Mr. Lamola. You know what, I spoke to you before the president spoke, and the president has spoken again. So do you think what he has said has really set this whole process in motion for you guys to really deliver to the people of South Africa?
Yes, indeed. I think the president spoke to the issues we have been speaking to during the manifesto, to be realistic in terms of the promises and the issues we are raising for the people of South Africa, that there will be no instant solutions. There are challenges, but the challenges are not insurmountable. There are challenges that we can confront as a country. I think the stadium, the people who are here, the diversity, reflect that united as South Africans, we can be able to conquer anything.
Okay, let's wait for the next 2 days and see what happens.
Thank you.
I hope you'll still take my call.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, a tool is no longer there. We'll be knowing by now. So we don't know what's going to happen. We leave it to the prerogative of the president.
Okay, that's Ronald Lamula there basically saying he's actually talking about the issue of the cabinet appointments. And that is where South Africa is looking at right now, because he has now been sworn in, so he needs to put together the team and then that's cabinet. But the big question that everyone is really wanting to know is who will he appoint as the deputy? And basically the question is arising because the current deputy, David Mabuza, has decided to postpone his swearing in Parliament. So when the president then appoints his cabinet in the next day or two, so chances are that he may not be able to appoint David Mabuza because he needs to appoint from the members of the parliament. I think the constitution is basically saying he must appoint a deputy president from the National Assembly. So that somehow rules out this possibility of taking any other two people who are not members of parliament. Of course, speculation has been rife, particularly on Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, on Lindiwe Sisulu, and of course, Naledi Pandor. But for us, we can only speculate. It's only the president that knows. I'm obviously with other colleagues across the stadium, like Ntlantla Kgatlane, who's waiting also to give us an update as to what's happening on his side.
Well, thank you, Mzwai. Coming to you right here from Loftus Stadium studio with me, I got a couple of people here who have been here since in the morning. I just want to talk to them to talk to us with regards to how do they feel after the president has spoken. Mama, tell us, the president spoken today. Did he touch on the things that you wanted him to talk about?
I think he gave a very frank speech on the state of the nation. He was honest about the economy, the things we need to address, and the way to the future going forward, that there's hope, that it's not all doom and gloom. And basically, as a country, we have a lot to be proud of, because for 25 years, it's been a peaceful country. Yes, we had our challenges, but you compare countries like in Europe, in Yugoslavia, there was some war. We have managed the 25 years, and economically, we are going forward.
What's your expectation? Now he's taking office, going forward. As a South African, what is your expectation?
I think that the way forward is that it can't be just the president and the government. All of us as South Africans are going to have to pick up our bootstraps and also play our part in making the economy grow, because it cannot be just the government sector, or it's going to be all sectors, university students, every sector.
Well, Mama, let me also give you a chance. I hear you are happy dancing since this morning. The president's speech, did it speak to you as a South African?
Yes, it did, especially on youth unemployment. Yeah, I wish he can create more jobs for youth.
Just tell us about how you feel. You were excited earlier today. How do you feel?
I'm so excited. It's a great experience. It's unforgettable.
I'm going to give a young man a chance also to opine with regards to, his views in terms of the president's speech. My man, today the president spoke. Did he speak to you as a South African?
The president spoke to me. I heard him talking about that there's sort of a new regime, and that there will be this new regime will be prosperous, and I'm expecting there to be youth employment. Yeah, that's the biggest problem in South Africa.
When did he talk to you? What are your expectations?
I'm expecting a new dawn, as it is what he had promised us, and I'm expecting that a better economy, and yeah.
Well, there you go in studio. A lot of people here excited. They've been dancing since this morning. They say the president spoke to them. Yeah, but with that being said, let me go to my colleague Zwandile Mbeje on the other side.
Thank you very much, Ntlantla. And of course, we continue to speak to people who have come here. With me is the president of Black Business Council, Sandile Zungu, who's been listening to the speech of the newly elected president. Mr. Zungu, I know that you have had an opportunity to interact with the president in his previous role. He's now the new president. So what are you taking from this speech as business?
Well, we are going into an administration which will continue to be people-centered, which will continue to be concerned about the needs of the poor, the most vulnerable in our society. We in business support that very much. But at the same time, the president is very clear, we'll be focusing on the economy, to grow the economy so that it creates jobs and pushes the frontiers of poverty. We support that, and we are saying as business, Tumatina SABC corner.
But as business, you've always been part of whoever is the president at the time, and then you've always been echoing that call that you'll be there. But our economy is not showing that. So what is it that will be different this time round?
What is very important is that the team that the president assembles must be a team that values coordination, that is prepared to work as a coherent unit, and focused on supporting business in building business confidence, because it's when business does not have confidence that they don't invest in the industrial capacity of this economy. So that is very important that the president assembles people who know how to create wealth. Number two, people who are single-minded in pushing the economy forward. And that's where the key is. And also, very important, the role of small, medium, micro enterprises needs to be emphasized. They must access capital, they must be supported to access markets and to be integrated into the supply chains of large corporations so that they can create employment. Because that's where the key to this economy's woes are, small, medium enterprises.
Mr. Zungu, you know that after the president was sworn in, so it basically means that he has all the executive authority. So no ministers now. You know that?
Of course we know there are no ministers, probably just for 24 hours. Tomorrow we expect the cabinet to be announced.
You know that even the Minister of Finance is not available at this stage.
Well, we are told that there's going to be continuity and change. We expect continuity.
If you are that change in the treasury, so would you accept that?
Well, you are shocking me now. I'm not ready to serve in the executive, but I'm there as a leader of business to support whichever team that the president assembles, whether it's a Minister of Finance or as a minister responsible for the economy, including trade and industry, and economic development and small business development. We'll be there to support as business.
I'm saying if the president gives you a call, says, Mr. Sandile Zungu, I want you to serve in the treasury.
Why would I say no? But I don't think that's a call that is relevant right now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zungu. There is Sandile Zungu there, the president of Black Business Council, basically saying they are ready to be sent by the president. President is saying, president of the BBC is basically saying, well, as much as he has never thought about the issue of being called to serve in the executive, but if that call were to come, he probably will take it.
Well, welcome back here to the stands at the Loftus Versfeld Stadium. Now, I can certainly tell you over the past few moments, I've been told to say in Chivenda, Renali Presidente Muswa Bo Ramaphosa. Okay, I don't know how well I did in that, but I'll certainly hear from this gentleman who told me that he wants to speak in Chivenda today. He has a special message for President Ramaphosa. Ntate Renali Presidente Muswa Bo Ramaphosa. There we go. All right, what's your message today? The president is just about left now. He's jumping into the car, as we can see. And what message do you have as a South African?
Udenda ngafukisela ka president Musa Ramaphosa ndoriza zvinoroba vya chiduloni vasongo hangwa valani vathu vangevuani kombelo ri kusatofela ng'ononi vave votsa vo solva vutada angevuani bishumo raibona zori vadoizama vadoita nga yote ndila vuani nda
All right. All right. Also to you, sir, you also have a message just before we wrap up.
Let them
see you on the television. There we go.
Make sure food or the bad that the pothole, but the valley. Make sure food or about Zindu, into the Hone, or Zubangor, Bofara, Bakushuma, Mushumo Brep and Mushumo Nak, Rovot Erbanj, Richurba General Ramaphosa, or Mushumo Nak.
Mama, you've been waiting for a very, very long time. Okay, Mama, your message to President Cyril Ramaphosa as he now, I think, just left the stadium now.
Kopar kolibu wa mu presidente washu neribani ngevenda katula mela kabembe rikopari chizwilibuwa ojena urikayo shuma zo yadimisela zone neriko ita tuma mina richibva apa ralibwana chikona chachaba chikotanga hapo rawana ringondi ngo obewa Ramaphosa matamela haleluya amen
Well, certainly that's a lot of the sentiment being shared. And I have to say, what I also picked up just a few moments ago is that everybody is asking to speak in Tshivenda. And certainly we'll grant everyone that opportunity, of course, as SABC News. But I think let me take one more. I'm not sure if we have enough time. All right. Here I hear Crisel. All right. Do you want to come? It doesn't matter. You can come through, so you can speak whichever language you want to speak. What is your message for President Cyril Ramaphosa? Can we, Reverend, could we just slightly? Let's see you. All right. Your message, sir, for President Ramaphosa.
No, it's fine. Yes, my name is Caesar, and then I came here to participate for the inauguration of the South African president. And I'm so happy and excited to see how South African democracy is going on, to see all kind of colors here, black, white, colored, and everyone is so excited and happy. I wish also our countries, that side, can also be the same, and we can be united, and they stay and they celebrate democracy like as South African people, they are celebrating and they are enjoying. I'm so excited to come and enjoy this moment with South African people. So we must always be like them, and we must always learn from them, and always I will tell South Africa that they must not take this democracy for granted, because as in our countries we are crying for this moment and we don't have them. That I'm so excited, and thank you.
Certainly wise words. Where are you from, sir?
Originally I'm from DRC Congo.
All right, from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And of course, the president of the DRC, we saw yesterday arriving at the Waterkloof Air Force Base, Felix Tshisekedi, was also part of the proceedings here today. So from far and wide, across the continent, many have come here today to also come and celebrate with South Africa. Wise words there from the man saying that South Africans should not take for granted the democracy that they're also here to celebrate 25 years into it. Let's go to my colleague Sipho Stierman now, who's also on the other side of the stadium. Sipho?
Office, but then sharp.
Well, we continue with the interviews here with various stakeholders and perhaps potential cabinet ministers. I know they will not like what I'm saying, but of course there's nothing stopping me from saying it. I'm with Dr. Sibongiseni Dlomo here. He used to be the MEC of KwaZulu-Natal of Health, and when he left, he said he was not going back to health in KwaZulu-Natal. Mr. Dlomo, you said you are not going to health in KwaZulu-Natal. Are you going national?
Yes, my party, the African National Congress, put me on a list to be on the National Assembly. And yes, 3 days ago we have been sworn in as members of parliament.
So the call could come for you to be the Minister of Health. Would you accept that?
No, Mbeja, that is the prerogative of the president. There are many capable leaders in health, in ANC, who can deliver the job. One will always be waiting and seeing the president getting his cabinet, but we are not really getting there. All I'm happy is to be a member of parliament in Cape Town, deployment by my party, and I'm ready to serve in that capacity. If anything else comes, it's not something that you go and apply and ask for it. It is a prerogative of a president to get capable leaders who are going to advance, and I know the ANC is going to just present the president with that type of leadership.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dlomo. There is Dr. S. Dlomo there, basically saying he is ready to serve. Of course, he was the member of the Provincial Council in KwaZulu-Natal. He is now the member of Parliament at National, so he's in Cape Town. So basically, if the president were to then appoint, he also is eligible for that. But with me is the chief whip of the ANC. They know her as DJ Pemza, and then there is Pemi Machotina. Chief whip, your president has spoken. So are you going to be able to whip your people into following what he has just said?
The president is a commander-in-chief, and therefore when he has spoken, all of us are supposed to toe the line. And for us to toe the line, the whip must whip. We are looking forward. Today is a very positive speech that brings hope to all South Africans.
So the robust parliament that we saw last time So are we expecting the same sort of robustness this time round?
It will be very robust because the Constitution allows us and give us the mandate as a legislature to play our oversight role in terms of overseeing the executive, and therefore don't expect anything less. We're going to be very robust, especially that as we're crisscrossing the country, our people told us exactly what they like, what they don't like. We have to move faster to deliver services and all the needs that people have spoken to us about.
Thank you very much, Chief Whip. And of course, I'm with the Premier of Northern Cape, Dr. Zamani Saul. So we were scheduled to speak to him earlier, but things got a bit hectic. So he's here with me now. Dr. Saul, you have been here listening to the President. Of course, a few days ago yourself were elected as the Premier of the Northern Cape Province. What can the people of Northern Cape expect from you as the Premier? There is a lot of poverty, a lot of unemployment, a lot of inequality.
Jack, we've got a clearly defined vision in the Northern Cape, is that we want to construct a modern, growing and successful province. Key to that is to ensure that we deal effectively with the triple burden of underdevelopment, which is high levels of unemployment, poverty and inequality in our province. But what is central to that is to ensure that we strengthen the capacity of government to implement and improve the quality of lives of the people of the Northern Cape.
But the ANC has been in power, even in Northern Cape, for very long. So what is it that will be different this time around? Because we've had this kind of beautiful speeches, beautiful words, but somehow something lacks somewhere.
No, we made major strides over the past 25 years. Just in the province alone, we managed to build about 68,000 houses. Just in the province alone, 86% of the people, they have got access to clean water and they've got access to electricity. So there's major strides that we managed to make over the past 25 years. What we need to do is to intensify and accelerate the program of service delivery to improve the quality of lives of our people, focusing particularly on creating job opportunities for young people.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That is Dr. Zamani Saul there of the Northern Cape. He has just been elected as the Premier of the Northern Cape. And of course, the different political parties were also here to witness the inauguration of the President. And then with me is Kulego Hlengwa, the spokesperson of the IFP. So he also witnessed the entirety of the events. Mr. Hlengwa, so what are you taking from this inauguration?
Well, one must congratulate the President and wish him well in his endeavors as he now carries the hopes of the entire country on his shoulders to push back on the frontiers of poverty, unemployment and inequality, particularly for young people who bear the brutal brunt of all these social ills. Of course, as a statement of intent, one can only welcome what the President really had to say today, with an expectation that when he delivers the SONA in June, he will be able to delve into much more detail in terms of the short-term, medium-term and long-term plans, particularly given the fact that the economy is not growing anything beyond 1%, and so he needs to give certainty and assurance in terms of how that will happen. And of course, the configuration of a cabinet will be the clearest indication yet of the direction which he wants to give the country. But it was very clear that he was seeking to unite South Africans with historical reflections, and we're trying to unite the country behind now a vision of oneness. And so on that score, the President, of course, can be given a 10 out of 10. Moreover, to speak very boldly about the issues of gender-based violence and women empowerment and women equality was very, very important, given the fact that the frontiers of patriarchy continue to characterize our discourse. So these are issues as well that Parliament will have to grapple with. But at the forefront now, he needs a very clear action plan for job creation, economic growth, and to push back on corruption, and to ensure that the vision that he spelled out today, we realize it, and that it gives the dignity of life which all South Africans expect.
is he assured of your support as the IFP?
Well, Prince Buthelezi was very clear on Wednesday in Parliament when we convened for the swearing in and election of the President of the IFP's support. We reiterated today and assure the President when he does the right thing, he will have the IFP's support. And where he does not do the right thing, we assure him that we will be a voice of reason to steer him back on course to do the right thing. We commit ourselves as the IFP to constructive opposition because we believe that the responsibility of service belongs to all of us, and the President cannot walk this road alone. It is for all South Africans, but most importantly, it is now incumbent on all of us really to give him the support, provided he is committed to his own commitments.
Thank you very much. That was the IFP there, basically pledging its support to the newly elected president. And of course, with me here is the Provincial Secretary of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. We have seen that that province in the past few days has been going through difficult challenges. Some of its mayors accused of all sorts of things. And Mr. Ndul, after this speech and what your province is going through at the moment, so what is the next step for you as KwaZulu-Natal, particularly to deal with those challenges that have been rearing their ugly head?
Well, I think firstly we're very excited, and this has been a very great occasion, and we want to congratulate President Cyril Ramaphosa, who's ascending to the highest office on our land to ensure that he continues to provide leadership on our quest to build a national democratic society. As the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, we're very confident, we're very excited, we understand the challenges facing our people. We know that with the inauguration of the sixth administration, there's going to be more energy, more focus, and more determination in the level of effectiveness to address service delivery, issues of unemployment, to ensure that we overcome the challenges, the triple challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality in our country.
Well, you have, as the PEC, made some sort of decisions regarding some of the people accused of all sorts of things. But some of them haven't really stepped down. I know it's a voluntary decision. Given that you are entering into this new dawn, and there are some among you who are accused of, I'm thinking of the mayor of Durban and the mayor of Newcastle. I know they have not been found guilty, but you as the PEC have said perhaps they should step aside to then allow for the processes to conclude. But they have not done that.
Well, look, the decision of the Provincial Executive Committee on the need for all of us to ensure that we protect the integrity, the image and the stature of our movement remains enforceable. I can confirm to you that the mayor of Newcastle has actually requested the organization to give him some time in order to deal with the current case that he's facing in the Newcastle magistrate. And I'm quite certain that many of our comrades who may happen to be in the same situation will find it necessary and appropriate to ensure that whatever happened in their own personal lives does not impact negatively on the standing and the stature of our movement. And we believe that all our cadres have the necessary conscience and have the necessary care and believe that the ANC is more important than our own difficulties and than our own personal challenges.
In Durban?
Well, we've met with the mayor of eThekwini to understand first and foremost what were the charges that have been imposed against her, just to get a deeper insight of what this is all about. I can confirm to you that the mayor has also indicated to us that he will be coming back to give us more information in relation to what we wanted as a Provincial Executive Committee. But as a cadre of our movement, I know that he cares about our movement, he cares about the city, and he will ensure that whatever actions she takes would always be actions that are in the best interest of the African National Congress.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ntuli. That was Mtumseni Ntuli, the Provincial Secretary of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. What do you want to say?
What do I want to say? Ke rata la ka letša mo president Cyril Ramaphosa matlhase le matlhogonolo ga kgonne go tšwela pele ka modiro wa gage jalo ka ga le moetapele le mokamedi wa Afrika Borwa, and ke rata gore re tshepa gore mmušo wa rena o tlo re direla dilo tšotlhe tše di botse. I wish him the best, and we are looking for good governance, transparency, zero tolerance on corruption, and more jobs we are not dealing with unemployment. The unemployment rate is too high. And yes, and more economic growth. Let's grow South Africa together.
Wow, that is the sentiment shared by everyone here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, there you have it, the sentiments from various people who are expressing their views after the president has said his say after being inaugurated. And Nzinga is standing by on the other side.
A very good afternoon to Mzwandile and to our viewers. The inauguration of President Cyril Ramaphosa has concluded a moment ago. What's currently happening at Loftus Fairfield Stadium, where that inauguration took place, is that presidents of other countries are leaving. We just saw President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, leaving. The President of Togo also making his exit in the car. Various dignitaries making their way out of Loftus Fairfield, where the inauguration has had a lot of pomp and ceremony attached to it. Dr. Nkosazana Zuma, Dlamini Zuma, said to members of the media that this inauguration was going to cost at least around 100 million rand less than previous inaugurations because of government austerity measures. But looking at it and being in the stadium, you didn't feel that there was a lot of scrimping going on. There was a display of military might, a member of the military saying that obviously it was to entertain the crowds, but also to show that the military is there to defend South Africa's constitution. That's their primary role, and to show South Africans what they are capable of. Gripen fighter jets flying over the stadium to the delight of many of the people who were here. We saw a military parade, we saw a 21-gun salute, we saw lots of pomp and ceremony basically during the course of this inauguration. President Cyril Ramaphosa, now South Africa's president. It's a wrap from us in the stands. We've been bringing you the voices, faces and thoughts of South Africans who attended the inauguration.
Well, a very good afternoon to you now as we wrap up our broadcast here from the Loftus Fairfield Stadium, I beg your pardon, here in Tshwane. It's been an eventful day surrounded by thousands of people, of course, who've come here to witness the inauguration of Cyril Ramaphosa as head of state. And as the dignitaries now begin to leave the stadium, so are the thousands of people that have gathered here, but of course that want to have their final say. And I'm hoping, I think that final say will come from you. Last words, this is it. The president has now officially taken office, and what would you like to say?
Chautuma ndutuma ngulibuwa mushumo wa chimbira zwavhuḓi ḓuvha ḽa ṋamusi sezwi ri khou rwela ṱari muphuresidennde washu vho Cyril Ramaphosa. Ri pfa ro hulisea badi sa vhavenḓa musi ri khou vhona muphuresidennde washu a khou huliswa ngaurali. Ndi tshi dovha hafhu nda livhuwa uri ndi tshi tenda zwori u bva zwino vha khou tshimbidza mushumo uyu zwavhuḓi. Tshumelo dzoṱhe dzine ra vha ri khou lila ngadzo ndi a tenda ḽoṱhe ḽa South Africa ḽi khou tshimbila zwavhuḓi. Nga heneyo mafhungo ndi nga ri no livhuwa.
All right, certainly those are sentiments that have been shared by many here, and I'm afraid that's all we're going to have time for here from the stands at the Loftus Fairfield Stadium. Thank you very much for watching. For myself, Criselda Lewis, and I guess the thousands of people here at the stands who were also joined in this particular celebration, which SABC News has of course brought to you live. Thanks for watching and have a great afternoon.
Criselda and the team right across the stadium and across the country, great reporting.
Doing a wonderful job. Bringing it to the people.
And this is it. This is where we wrap it up. It's been an incredible day here at the Loftus Fairfield Stadium. And the president basically started off with the story of Africa, saying that a brighter day for the continent. We're poised to do amazing things on the continent. And then that whole theme of working together. It's been 25 years. We've seen the good and the bad. But now the time has come for us to work really hard in the periods to come.
And speaking very pointedly, Peter, about the fact that we cannot achieve what we want to achieve as a country outside of the African continent. Of course, reiterating the commitment to the free trade agreement, which is something that African leaders, you still have some countries that are holding back on signing it, but part of that whole development of Africa. And you know, you learn every day, Peter, just from an anthropological anthropological perspective, just looking at, okay, they're gone. The dancers were doing their Chikona dance, and I was reading a little bit more about the significance of it. So it's a Vavenda traditional dance that is to welcome or hail a new leader, although also apparently performed at the departure of another leader, but obviously a very significant turn.
All right, so that's the view of the continent. And here at home, he says, look, the challenges we face are real, but they're not insurmountable. They can be solved, and we're going to do it. And he says, your vote on May the 8th sent 400 people to Parliament, and you elected me as your president, and I will do the job for you. So that's the promise that the president has made, the 5th president of South Africa. Tumamina is his word, and he's put himself on the front line there, particularly to create a country that the youth in particular can enjoy and benefit from.
And speaking of the youth, Peter, just quickly to end with a meme I was showing you earlier on, that apparently they're saying to the president now that you're singing Tumamina from Hugh Masekela. Here's another song, Kauleza, a message to the president to go on ahead and implement. So, well, that's it from us here at Loftus Versfeld. Thank you so much to the studio crews all around the stadium who've also been working very hard. The dignitaries are off to lunch, and more entertainment from us.
Yes, indeed. From those of you that have been watching us on SABC2, thanks very much indeed for tuning in. For those of you that have been tuning in on our news channel 404 and DSTV, thanks so much indeed for that. And also the millions digitally across the world, thank you very much for being a part of this special broadcast from us. And Loftus Versfeld, have a lovely day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I will be a president for all South Africans.